Welcome, everyone. My name is Joyati Das, and I am leading the Evidence to Action project here at University of Melbourne's Centre for Cities, supported by Swiss philanthropic organization Fondation Botnar. The UN celebrates, as you know, World Cities Day annually on 31st of October to promote better city, better life, calling for cultivating sustainable urban futures. And on World Cities Day, our team, the Evidence to Action team, at Uni Melbourne are hosting a panel discussion on this topic. And the topic is Equitable Partnerships for Sustainable Urban Futures for Young People, from local to global. Joining me on this panel today are mayors, city planners, policy and programmers, practitioners, researchers, advocates, activists who have made concerted efforts to build partnerships within their constituencies to promote young people's well-being.
I grew up in a rural place until I was, a teenager when I started experiencing the city life, that there are still spaces, there are still people who actually listen when young people speak. There is space, and it does not require special skills for people to engage in this space. It only requires for enabling environment.
In Habitat, we have a similar mechanism. We have the Youth Advisory Board that you, Joyati, know very well. There are 12 members that are selected at the international level, and they are supposed to advise us on the program of work and our strategies to ensure that there is a perspective from the youth that is incorporated in our work.
The kind of job I have had as a mayor is more like a fireman. So you're turning down fires everywhere, and sometimes you miss sight of what is important because you're always on what is urgent. We decided that our violence prevention strategy would have this multi-stakeholder approach, but it was going to have different goals for different areas, and it was going to be an intervention that we were going to in which we were going to prioritize the most affected neighborhoods and the most affected population, which was the youth.
We realized that putting young people to think with us about how to measure, how to make, how to build these approaches allows to start building capacity as we were building evidence.
That's exactly what we've done. We've worked with these young people to build the evidence about their lives. And as they were doing that evidence building, that exercise in itself was an empowering exercise, because they began to articulate what they were saying. They began to recognize that they have the right to ask their city government for these things.
Fondation Botnar has been working over almost 6 decades in Colombia trying to promote social development, and we have always understood that to address social issues, we have to have a systemic. What we have started there is to understand which stakeholders have to be included to actually promote better citizenship engagement. So it has to be the private sector. It's very important to have the academia. It's very relevant to have the social or third sector, and also very relevant to have the media.
You really have to have this notion from the outset in the project design. And ideally, you co-design this with all partners from the beginning. We're learning that in terms of power dynamics and buy-in, that consortium needs to be built out of a collective understanding to invest in early communication and getting to know each other and building trust amongst the partner. It can't be done in a vacuum.
In areas where you might have very conflicting interpretations of evidence, who gets to define what's vulnerable, what's risky, and what's viable?
So it's very good when you engage young people in these conversations, and it's things that we're doing for them, but we need to do it with them also. I mean,